What's going on, people? How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing all right. I want to say thank you guys so very much for having me on the stream. The artist take over. What? Here we go. And as we start, I gotta hit you with some tea. So that's good. Hey, what's going on? Must be true with Alex for a bit. Nice. Gotta stay hydrated. Yep. I got plenty here. The water, tea. So, we should be good. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Today we're gonna be doing some world building, as far as I know. We can do some world building. Sounds like fun. So, how's everyone doing today? Doing all right? Let's go ahead and get this. Oops. Get this kind of going. Let's see. We'll do. I guess we'll do this one. Building the world one Brad step at a time. Good. I'm glad you guys are doing all right. Oh, my chat box doesn't seem to want to pick up what's going on. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Interesting. I don't know why my chat bot's not working. Sorry, so you won't get to you won't get to see anything over here. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on or why it's not connected. I tried. I put it over there. It's not there. What's up, Miss Ebony? Thank you for coming out and checking us out today. So, actually, we need to start something else. So, I was asked to come and take over, and we're gonna have a good time here today, hopefully. And so I don't know if you guys know me, but my name is Bryan Kaiser Tillman, spelled with a Y. So that's Bryan, just in case any of you actually care. It's not that it's necessarily unique, but it is something that happens. So Bryan, yep. So I am a professor at Montgomery College in Maryland. I teach illustration and animation, and currently I am working on a project called Ninja Empire. And I figured it would be really cool because to actually start creating some of the town, there's a character that I've been dying to really dive into, and I figured it'd be nice to do that with you guys and kind of walk you through my process of how I do that, and then we can, we'll just go from there. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to show you a couple pictures if that's all right, real quick. Let's see. I'm going to show you a couple characters here. So we've got, so you can see kind of where my character brain is. So you can see, let's see. Who else we got? This one's cool. We'll be lurking for a bit, but I'm here. All right, Sierra, thanks. Lurking, thank you. Thanks for coming and lurking. Just so you guys can kind of see, what you guys are jumping into with me here. Okay. Cool. All right. So I wanted to create. Oh, I should probably show you, just so that I don't just do characters. I did have some world building stuff that I had done. And so world, for me, I have muscles like that. Nice. For me, world building deals with a whole lot of stuff. It starts with story, right? Like it always will start with the story, and then where we're trying to go. Like how do the weapons, how do the shoes, how do the trees, how does everything relate to what's happening? And so when I'm doing world building, especially when I'm just kind of randomly doodling, I'm like, oh, we're gonna start something. It'll start off kind of like this, right? Some random scribbles, and we'll just be like, hey, here's what's going on, folks. I'm gonna lurk for a while. Lurk away. Thank you so very much for joining. But it'll start with kind of like scribbles like this. I like this color. And just ideas of how certain things could be. So, scribbles, and then weapons. And then what happens is you'll start, as you can see, right? These are all still very rough, right? But as you can see, they'll start getting a little bit more consistent as far as an idea of a weapon. So trying to get more designs and something unique, because it's one thing to have a sword, right? It's one thing to have just a regular katana or sword or something like that, but then to take that katana and then kind of add some type of details that makes it a little unique to the character, to the world that you're building. I think that's very important when it happens. And something that you really need to do when it comes to the idea of world building is understanding what it is you're trying to do and realizing that there's stuff out there that already exists, right? So you can do, so I do things like this. I do mood boards, okay? And I think that these are very important. You're not going to actually be copying them. You're not stealing from them, although a lot of concept artists will take something and they'll photo mash this stuff together and they'll make it work and paint over it and stuff like that. But I put stuff together to give me kind of a rough idea of what I'm looking for, where am I trying to go, what is it that is going to make my world a little bit more interesting, and so you always want to take stuff to be inspired so that you can actually go and scribble some stuff together, right? Then once you have this scribble, so all of this was done for the Shogun's palace. Okay, so when I was creating the Shogun's palace, this is what I did. I did a mood board so that I could kind of understand where I was going to go, what I was trying to do, and then we did some environment roughs, which is really funny. So I would scribble these out just to give an idea of what we were trying to do, right? And this is how simple it starts with me, because when you don't know exactly what you're trying to do, it's like, oh, let's find these shapes and let's see what we can do here. And so I'm really trying to figure out just anything at this point, right? And these are scribbles that really, really help. Troll hunters. Starting with the mood board makes sense. Okay, how much work is it? The rest of the day off. He listened. The Shogun was scared of him. Alright. Sorry. I will come back to read the chat, but then, it stops what I'm saying. But anyway, so then you'll start seeing shapes from the mood board, right? You'll start seeing shapes from the mood board. And then just certain ideas that would be pretty cool. I want to do this bridge. I want to do this idea. I think this is a really cool shot for a bridge, right? Getting closer, and then kind of coming up with where we want to go, right? And then certain elements will be continued, like I use this and this later, right? But you'll start seeing a lot of things from the mood board, right? Like, how do we make this work? What are we going to make it look like? Are there certain elements, like putting in this kind of person here as a statue or not? And then coming in and going, this is what I think the Shogun's castle is going to look like, right? So then we did that. And then we did this, right? So from that, we took other scribbles, and of course, I always come back to character, so I'm always a character designer. I love character design, so I'll always be scribbling people. But the idea then boils down to like, oh, do we put an Oni into the mountain? Do we make that a thing, right? Are we putting them in the mountain? Is it just a huge palace where you got to walk forever to get to? And this one was kind of more where I went, right? So there's a valley, and it is suspended between two big mountains, right? I think this one, right? And so kind of focused in on it just a little bit more, and then I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and get started, right? And so, there it is. So we took this idea, right? So the whole idea is that this is what it's going to boil down to, right? I'm going to figure out how to put a whole city into this valley, right? And if you look, right, I was even playing with the idea that this right here, as it cracked and bent into itself to show the actual rock, it would look like a ninja, because ninjas. The whole theme, right? And I went ahead and did everything separately, right? So remember we talked about the bridge? Did the bridge, the actual Shogun's castle, right? Separated stuff, all separated, right? And then here's what it looks like together, right? So that's, and I may have gone in a little bit too, I don't know if too much, if there is such a thing as too much detail, but there's a lot going on here. I really liked it. But as you can see, so this, right, this right here turned into that. And the cool part about it is that this bridge then leads backwards into what holds up the Shogun's castle, but there's this bell, ceremonious bell, that's can be rung on either side. And this actually is water, so the idea is that water would fall from there, right? And so the water is supplying this valley with life, right? So it's giving it water the whole time, so it creates a river. The Shogun's castle is creating this river, and it's giving the valley life, right? And so the idea, as a Shogun, right, you look up to the Shogun because he is your savior. He is the one who's going to give you life. That's why he's above you. That's why he gives you water. And so all these things kind of played into the story, right? And we're building around that, around the world, that the story is important. I thought it was coffee. Is water life? Well, supposedly. I mean, I guess coffee keeps you going. And I'm drinking tea, just in case anyone's like, see, he's drinking coffee. I'm actually drinking tea. So, when it comes to all of the world building, everything is going to be, it's going to be based around story. Always around story. But I think I did some weapons for funsies. Yeah. And this thing kind of happens. So once you start working on what kind of tea, it's chai tea, vanilla chai tea, no less. But the idea of world building, so a lot of people, when they start doing things like this, they focus on like the character, and that's it, right? Because the characters are always cool, and I've done that too. I love the characters, but then you have to break out and start doing the things that may or may not look like they're as flashy, right? Like, oh, I gotta design the hut, or oh, I gotta design weapons or shoes or something like that, but it needs to get done. And there's a lot of fun that can be had here, right? Creating weapons that might be unique to a certain area or a certain group of people, right? Like you can, if we were to equip a whole tribe or a whole clan of ninjas with this kind of specific weapons, right? Like it all has this kind of D shape, but each member, each warrior or different type of warrior has a different type of blade, but you can tell the similarities, right? Because of this part and that blade, right? All story. All right. Now that we've said that, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these extra things. So, for me, because I am a character designer, it always will start with character, right? And when I start doing a character, it always starts with a story. You have to have a story. Story is above everything, right? And your world will be based on the story. Your characters are based on the story. Magic powers are based on a story. Everything is based on a story. Now, it could be a very loose story, right? It can be a very, very loose story, but nonetheless, you want to have some type of story, right? And it's real easy to just scribble some ideas. Put this on another layer. So I do want to create a clan of ninjas, right? I want them to be more in a colder climate. Right? So we're thinking of like ice ninjas. Right? And then what would be, we'll create a character and it's like, well, what is going to be the idea behind the character? Because what's going to happen is, so this one will start off and we'll draw something, then the next one will go through the process of actual character design, character and weapon design probably, and then we can go through building like this person's hut area. House, hut, temple, whatever we plan on doing with that, and then just making sure that it all goes together, because that's important, right? Drawing things individually are cool, but being able to get it all together is what's important. So anyway, so we're gonna have ice ninjas, and we'll say that they have some type of ice power. They still like to use some type of weapon, and I'm gonna make sure to give them some type of fur. Like, the whole idea is that we want to give them some type of fur eventually, right? And we're just gonna keep that off to the side for us right now. But so what I normally do is the way I generally start all my thinking when I'm like, I'm gonna create a character. The character's gonna be here. So what I do is I draw profiles, because I firmly believe that you can actually get a lot of information out of a profile picture, and you don't have to draw the symmetry of the face. Like, most people want to see, they draw and they're like, ooh, the symmetry of the face, and it's got to look all nice and clean. And what happens is that, someone's like, oh, well, this eye's up here and that eye's down there, the lip's not exactly where it needs to be, and they stress over the anatomy and the proportions and stuff like that. But a profile's pretty simple, and yet you can still get a lot of attention out of a profile. So we're gonna do a profile, and then we can like slowly but surely come up with maybe a story for the character that we're working on, and where do they go, how do we push people forward, that kind of thing. What do you guys think? Does that sound like a plan? So we're just gonna, so I know that because I had a vision for a character, so we're just gonna I know that I want to do a guy, right? I want to do a male ninja at this point, but that might change. You know, we might create something else as we move along, but you'll quickly see that it's really easy to try and draw a profile, right? And create, you know, a character really quickly, and you know, we can go from there and try and figure out what's happening. Master of fighting style is an expert. You're gonna survive the cold. Forget about it. Where a pistol showed up. Those boys didn't fare too well. Well, what's always funny is how people think that ninjas actually didn't do guns, but they did. They did. They used it as a last resort because, well, they're supposed to be stealthy. So them shooting people is not necessarily the best way to go about doing things. But but yeah, they also had guns. Actually, let's open that up so you guys can see what we're doing. But they did indeed have guns. My favorite was the cannons that people would have, because a lot of people didn't really think that they had cannons, but they so did. So I think I want to give him kind of a hood, right? And one thing that a lot of my students would do is they actually will try and, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, I need to make sure that it's nice and clean and finished beforehand. Who would win in a fight, Samurai Jack or Naruto? True. It's like, I mean, you know what? My bet would be Samurai Jack. That's where I'm going. I'm going with Samurai Jack. I think that's a solid choice. So we're gonna actually bring this over here, so that now I'm looking at you. All right, so let's keep going here. It was ahead of its time. It so was. All right, so we're gonna do that. Probably bring that out like so. The one thing that I absolutely love about digital is the fact that I can constantly come in and just, you know, draw and erase and draw and erase, and it not be a problem whatsoever. Right? So you can actually get what you need before you start inking and stuff like that. Alright, so let's see. He's gonna be out in the cold. So let's try and design a mask that will help. Design a mask that will help and look cool at the same time. So we're gonna give him something like so. Definitely know he's got to have some type of circle, right? I do a lot of glowy stuff, so it's got to be some type of, you know, some type of circle that's gonna glow. So put something here too. That. I feel as though there should be something. Maybe I just need to move it here. Protect and be badass. He's like, like I said, the best thing about doing it digitally is the fact that I can just keep coming in and erasing when I need to, right? Nice, easy scribbles. So if we keep that way, it doesn't need to glow. But I want something, definitely want something there. Right? But then this feels kind of empty. But then one thing that I don't want to do is overdo it. Right? If there's no need, right? If you are actually drawing something and then there's no need for random details, then there's no need for random details, right? You should just work around it and try and figure out why you think something needs to be there. Right, and then maybe change the design up a little bit. Because maybe that'll do it. And maybe we bring that in here, so that we have something back there as a little tie-in. Bam, bam. Alright, I think we got something to work with now. Like so. Right. Alright, make it a little bit smaller. Start a new layer. Now, so now I'm gonna ink it. Right, and you'll see, like, these, they don't take very long, right? They don't take very long to do, but you're gonna hopefully get a lot of information out of the character, right? And then from there you can start building around it, like, because right now we're trying to build his world, right? We're going, all right, well, we need to know him first before we can start building his world. It's different if you were going, well, I'm going to build, you know, a fake New York or something like that, because you have something to go off of, right? Then the environment itself is a character, which it generally is anyway, right? That's one thing that a lot of people don't do, is they don't think of the environment as a character, so they give it a whole lot less attention. Inking, my favorite part. Thanks, Miss Ebony. For those of you who don't know or have not followed me on my stream at all, inking is my least favorite thing. I hate inking. Miss Ebony here likes to point out just how much I love it. Inking is the best part. Shame on you. Can't stand it. Hate inking. Hey, Ink Shift. Hope you didn't come here to like, berate me about my inking. Everybody come after me. Inking's awesome. Does he live in a giant ice mountain and have penguins that do his bidding? No, we're not going to make him the penguin from the 1990s movie of Batman. Maybe we'll give him like an ice bear or something. You know, I mean, it works. True. No, for the people who love inking, and I actually, I so admire and am jealous of people who are inkers, right? I am not an inker. I am what people make fun of when they're making fun of inkers, right? I am a tracer. Now, granted, with this, you know, I'm definitely doing it a lot looser, so it's like, meh, right? So I am actually making choices, but when I do comic pages, it's very tight, right? I do very tight pencils, and therefore, I'm really just tracing. You could have fooled me. Maybe he has an ice shuriken. Maybe. I might actually take one of those weapons that we were doing beforehand, that we were looking at before, and use that, because that might be pretty cool. But yeah, there's so much that goes into world building, right? And a lot of people just want to jump to, the characters. Like, characters, and that's it. And if you're making a character design book, then sure, it's perfectly fine. But if you're actually making a story, if you're actually trying to do a comic or a movie or anything of that nature, right, you're gonna have to build the world. And most people don't want that. So that's when you start seeing or reading or seeing that, like you're listening to something, or you saw something, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. What's going on there? So, nothing is working. And his amazing hair. Aw, thank you. I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of liking the way this guy's already turned out. Nope. Nope. Oh, there we go. I was like, why is this not working? Oh, yeah, it's because I'm doing it wrong. Why don't you like inking? It's because, like I said, normally when I'm doing work, especially when I'm doing my comic pages, I am tracing. And which means I'm doing the same work again. So, because I pencil pretty tight normally, right? Right now it was just like, hey, we're gonna take this scribble and we're gonna just start inking it. Then I become an inker. But when it comes time to actually do finished pages and stuff like that, my pencils are very, very tight. And so the issue then becomes, well, why am I pretty much drawing it twice? And I think that's the main reason, because I don't actually add anything to the piece, but I add permanence, right? So I firmly believe, because there's a lot of people who are like, well, why don't you just go into Photoshop, darken everything up, and you'll be great. And I was like, there's something about the inks that is absolutely important. It just looks done to me. and that's honestly what's important, because it just looks better. I love pencils. Like, if pencils by themselves, I love the way the pencils look. That's my go-to, right? And if you have a comic that's fully colored and then you have the same comic that's penciled, I want the penciled one, right? Because I think pencils just look that much cooler. But yeah, like I said, I firmly believe that if you're gonna do colors, unless you're painting, right? If you're painting, then it doesn't really matter. But I firmly believe that if you're going to have color, especially with comics, you should ink it. I just, I just stink at it. So I'm like, I know my strengths. Inking's not one of them. So there's no need to fight it. Oops. I'm hoping that along the way someone will, eventually go straight to ink. Yeah, you have a lot more faith than I do in my work. I do ink though. Like I have done pictures that I've done in just pure ink, but like I said, inking is a means to an end. And so I do it because I have to. You ever watch a show, Portrait Artist of the Year? An artist paid a portrait in a few hours, but over half of them look cooler at the halfway mark than the finished. Yeah. There's, like I said, there's just a lot of energy that is in sketching, right? And you're just like, oh man, you're still trying to figure out where stuff is, and there is something to be said about the sketch stage, the beginning preliminary stages and stuff like that. But that's not what people want, surprisingly, for the most part. People don't really want sketch lines and stuff. They really want a lot of permanence. So like, oh, this is done. I love the idea of sketch work. So I think that with his mask, you'll see his air, right? So when he's breathing, you would see just puffs of air come out. It's my issue. Oh, really? Okay. Those are fighting words. Yeah. It's on the YouTubes. Because I have a curve, right? We're gonna do one. We're gonna do it on another layer first. Also, a huge benefit to digital is the fact that you can actually put stuff on a separate layer, right? And it doesn't need to affect anything. Copy and paste is such a beautiful thing. go. Erase that. Drop that in like so. Drop that in here. Ah. Cool. Oh, good, good. So, okay. Everything. We're gonna go ahead and save. Remember, always save. It's like, remember, always save. Tools you have been given. Yep. All the layers, copy paste. Yeah, absolutely. What are we doing? Ice Ninja. And we'll even go walk. Okay. Moving on. Okay. Here. Oh no! There we go. Zoom out. See that? Okay. Alright. Doesn't look right, so we're gonna take that. There we go. Alright, so we're almost can get rid of the sketch layer. See, it's all coming together. Google Derek Hess. Derek Hess. All right. Trusty index cards. I'll write it down for later. Say his name was Derek Hess. Derek Hess. All right. Derek Hess. Okay, let's see. What else do we need to do? Couple rivets. So we're getting closer and closer to the weekend. Has anyone got any plans? Doing anything fun? Since it seems like there are no questions for me yet, so we continue to draw our ninja. Marquee tool. modify, contract 5, maybe a couple more. Contract 3. Key tool. Modify, contract 5. Nope, still need to do it by 8. Okay. Modify, contract 3 more pixels, delete that out. Stay cool and chill. Okay. Are you in a hot area? Like, are you somewhere where it's extremely warm already? This one should be 5. Contract that by 5 pixels. Ooh, no, we're going to contract that by 3 pixels. So, not really going to see much, so we'll just So, something that I do with my ninjas is I do a very heavy under the eyelid thing, and the reason why I do that is because it's an homage to the 1980s ninja movies, because all of them had heavy, like, eyeliner. Not, well, it was, you know, the football black thing they do to, like, no, it was eyeliner, right? So they just had this really thick, like, eyeliner underneath, and so it's something that I do just to like I said, to pay homage to to the things that I like that got me into drawing ninjas. Well, for everyone else that doesn't, Toronto, Canada, it's summer warm. Rainforest days. I think we got him. Alright, so we're gonna save again. Alright, so now we kind of have our character, right? Or at least one. We're gonna see what happens. And we're gonna put this on multiply. Do another layer. And now we're just going to start adding some color, right? Just some quick color, and we'll see where we go from there. I know I want this to be, I mean, we want it to be white, but we want it to be, right, like, we still want it to, there we go. Want to have just a little bit of color in there. All right, like just this icy blue. color because I don't want it to be white. Not this time, at least. Alright, we'll just... Now I know that because my lines are, you know, pretty thick and solid, that I could just wand and get into the color and let it fill it in itself. But I don't know. This is just something that I do. It just feels, it feels right. It might be extra work, but I swear I'm just like, I don't know. It just feels good to kind of come in here and just, whoops, come in here and just color it in. Sometimes I fill it in, right? Like sometimes I will come in and just do the magic wand and drop the color in, but I don't know. Sometimes I like being able to fill it in because I know that I can get into the nooks and crannies that way. Because most part, it doesn't like that, so we don't do it that often. Okay, and so now, for me at least, right? I get to come in and look at what I have and go, oh, I think this would benefit from some color, like that would, and then this would, right? Just to kind of break up the monotony of all the color. And it might change, right? It's very easy to change back. The other Portland. And then for all the glowy stuff, which, like I said, if you know me, you know the glow's coming. So we'll make stuff glow. Just a little bit darker. The glow. So I see this character already as being a lot darker, right? Like I just see this character because of the dark blue, you know, the cool gray, dark gray mask. It just seems like he's already a darker character, so he's probably going to be one of the bad guys. Right, because I like the way this is. I like the way he's looking thus far, right? And stuff will change. We'll probably do another one to try and give us an idea, right? So we're not staring at the exact same thing, being like, we only had one choice, and then that's all we're gonna go with. So we'll probably do another one, at least another one, and we will be able to have some choices, but. I'm going to finish this character off because it didn't take that long, and I feel like we should do that, right? Alright, so I guess we're going to start with these darker colors. Alright, so we're going to have the light come from over there. Now, this is probably one of my favorite aspects of doing kind of what I do with my art, is the fact that I can just do these shapes, right? Like I just get to do a whole bunch of shapes to dictate the light, which I think is great. Right? I don't necessarily have to go all bananas about just knowing, doing the blending and all that stuff. I don't need to do that. As long as I understanding the principles of light will make that a lot easier. And then that's it, right? So you're like, all right, I understand the principles of light. I understand how they're supposed to go. And then you get to make some kooky shapes to make it work. And you get to do a lot of artistic license. Just like, oh, well, I know the light's coming this way. So that's all I really need to do. And then I'm going to kind of use this funky hexagon shape for no reason. I guess this would technically be all darker, so we'll just color that in that way. Like so. Okay. And what's gonna start happening is you'll see, almost like a transformation just by doing these very simple shapes. Actually, what's that? With doing these shapes, then you'll be able to just create the idea of, just light, depth, stuff like that. It's really fun. I heard the principles of life. Sorry, I'm not giving out the principles of life. Not today. We just met. Then we'll get to decide, do we do this? See, like just making that separate shape there. It's like, you can do it, you cannot do it. I think that it does need to be there though, so we'll leave that one there for now. You can always come back and change it later. Alright, here. Like that's gonna catch light. So then we will, no! Or do we do it from here? And see, and this is the big thing, right? Trying to figure out where the shapes should go, right? And you can follow some of the drawings that you did, so here, and then just kind of come down. It's looking great already. Oh, thank you. Because maybe this just needs to all be in shadow. And so I work in a very cell shaded style, and it allows for very quick changes. Very, 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 very quick changes, which I think is one of the main reasons why I actually chose to do cell shading, is because if something's not working, it's okay. Whoops, it's okay, right? We can come in and quickly change it. And sometimes you kind of have to, right? Especially when you don't see it. Like there have been times when I've tried to do stuff and I don't see it, and it takes someone from chat or, you know, from somebody else's perspective, and they're just like, you do know that this is not working. You're like, what? Why not? And I'm like, it's just not. Like, oh. And then you take a good look at it and you're like, oh, it really isn't. I think we're gonna come in and try and just make that like so instead. You know what? I think that with the glow, that'll be fine. So we're just gonna kind of make this just be kind of like some highlights, right? Just, even though it's not necessarily the highlight, right? It's still the base tone. So, I guess we'll do another one here. Separate there. There we go. It's not looking bad. All right, so we got that. Looks good. That color. Like so. Bang, bang. Okay. Only got two other things then. We got to do the hood and his face. So I think we're gonna do the hood first. Ice blue. There we go. I like that. Okay. So, light's coming from here. So we'll be hitting there. So we know that would be this. So we can come in here, right? This whole thing will be in shadow. Could go like that. This would come up, and we would give it a highlight here. Once again, the fun part doing the shadow shapes. Here, come back down. Looking at that going, so I know that we want that color to come out, so it's the light. Maybe it's not that far back. Right, we can come in like so, break that down, and then this will come out like so. Pull that back like that. and we can figure out if we want to add some funky shapes or whatnot into this. Funky shapes. Okay. Or if we'll cut back in, you know, who knows? This is definitely the roughest. Doing the you know, shadows and stuff like this from far away, because sometimes you do just need to keep everything kind of far back so you can take a look at it and then just see just how far you want to take stuff, right? When you bring it, whoops, and bring it in. Nope. Cool. Maybe we do it from down here. Bring that up here. So, see, in this, just trying to give a little bit of, I don't know, something interesting to look at, right? Because as you saw, like if I take this away, right, that's a big empty open shape, and so by adding these kind of details to it, it just adds some visual interest. Probably where we're gonna go. So we're just gonna do that. We're just gonna clean it up now. I love it. Simple shapes make me, yeah. Oh, thank you very much. And it's really funny how you can just take like that little triangle, right? And now you've created a fold, right? Like there's a fold there. And that's, for me, right? Like I love looking at cartoons. I love looking at anime and all those kinds of things that rely on cell shading to do a lot of their storytelling because of the color, right? Also, if it's animation, it's because it's so much easier to do. But it's just, you know, I know, just being able to go, hey, look, I made the shape, isn't it cool? And you go, oh, I buy that color. Like, I look at that and I buy it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Okay, I'm going to tighten this up. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you guys can hear me when I'm doing the my little swoosh sound effects. I don't know if it's being picked up. I'm trying to keep them low. Actually, like that. Swoosh the screen. I make a lot of sound effects, generally speaking, because I will just, you know, you know, just to, I don't know, it makes me happy. And if I'm drawing anything kind of like explosion-y, forget about it. Like, forget about it. Stuff's exploding everywhere. I think I figured out what was kind of bothering me. Like those shapes really thick, and they don't always work. Right, just like I think that I might tone this down, bring this back here. Oops. Though this little speck down here I'm really liking. So we'll try and make that just a little bit bigger. Make that stick out. What is that? What is that? Oh. It's like, what is that? It's always fun when the computer decides that it's going to like get some little itty bitty thing together. Right? And it's like, here's the selection. Isn't that the one you wanted? It's like, not necessarily, no. Go. There we go. I just saved. Remember, always save. Very important that you save. All right, let's get into his face. Shouldn't be too hard. Sip and save. You know what? That's a good idea. As my tea's gotten cold, but it's okay. I drink this iced too, so it's not that bad. That is not dark enough. Here, here. So, we could give off, like, we have to give off this shadow because of the mask. Just kind of highlight there. Shadows, and so now we'll hit some highlights. Right, give it a nice shine, fake shine. Try to at least. So, highlights. It's actually not that many though, at least there, because we're kept most of that in shadow, so there's that. Come here and hit this, like so, maybe just a little lighter. So we'll catch just a little light, not much. And what I've realized is that there's a lot of times you won't even see this. I still like putting it in there because it's supposed to be there. Right? And because it's supposed to be there, I want to make sure that it's there. Highlight. Bam. Alright. Come to him now. Highlight there. Here. Like so. And we'll see if we can add one here. Sometimes adding it into like that just doesn't work. All right. Ah. There we go. All right. So now it's time for the glowy stuff. Screenola. Come to the brush. Oh no. There we go. No, too many things open. The brush. We need a soft brush. Drop the opacity. Drop the flow. Scroll up and see it. Oh no. Which part? Oh, I'm sorry. Which part of the comic process is your favorite? Honestly, I like penciling. I like penciling. It's where you can get the most ideas, or it feels like the most ideas, the most energy, and it's the most fun. I guess it's the most organic. I really do enjoy that. Here. He can draw all day if you let him. This is true. He gets tired. Oh no. Color dodge. What? Miss Ebony normally keeps me in check, though. That's the thing. So, you know. Mostly because the boss said that, you know, I got to be done by 11 on most things. She keeps pointing out that I'm getting older, so I need sleep. So you gotta listen to the boss. All right. You gotta rest. It's like, do you really have to? I mean, eventually, sure. Painting glow. I have not. I don't use color dodge. I'm a screen guy, mostly because the color dodge becomes really intense or really fast. But he's on. But I'm on my own tonight. There, we got some glowing going. Some glowing going. I did just say that. Now, let's see. There's a brush that I like that splatters, but I got the brush from a friend of mine, and he's got like a million brushes, and I just haven't gone through and deleting all the crappy ones that I don't need. So every time I need this one brush, and I don't know why I haven't started my own, like just list, like, oh, I want this one. But see, because this is it, 54? I think this is it. So, do another one. We do a screen. Oh, no! There we go. Okay, so we're gonna do another one. I'm gonna make that a screen. We're gonna... Oh, it doesn't want to show up on the white. Okay. No! Wrong layer. Let's try it again. Okay, then we're gonna come in and we're just gonna erase all the stuff that was kind of over the mask. Zoom in. I always end up working with just 2 or 3 bits. So normally I have, and I don't use a lot of made brushes. So normally I'll use the default round hard brush. When I'm doing my glows, I'll use the default airbrush, so the default soft brush. And that's pretty much all I ever use. And then sometimes randomly it'll be like, oh, you know what, this would be a really cool texture, and I know that this brush exists in one of my friends' brush packs, so then I'll just go ahead and do that, because it does save a lot of time. Like this brush right now for the thing that we just did saves a whole lot of time, right? And then we're gonna come into the eraser. It's down here, 54. Alright, so now we're going to come up with the eraser. And we're going to drop the opacity and the flow and we're going to take some of these out. Right. That way it doesn't look as just super strong. Yeah, I started using the Brush plugin a few months ago. I'm in love with it. I think I can't. I think I just need to come up here and kind of erase that just a little bit. Bam. Alright, so now the thing that I normally do is I'll come back up, pick like a complementary color, do an orange, something right there, and then we'll put it, do another layer here. Alright, so now what I generally do is I'll just put this color rim light behind it. Yep. This lets you go to your go-to brushes. Palette way easier to keep organized. Click Brush Manager. Ooh, what's it? Okay, let's check that out too. What's it called? Brush. Okay. Wrote it down. Gonna check it out. And of course, this is all just kind of aesthetic stuff. Come right, $14. Okay. Right. Pull the last little bit out. Alright, so there you go. Alright, and there's our... So, let's save it. So this is generally my process, right? And then we'll... Yeah, it will be turned like that. But let's go ahead and get him in the right spot, and then we'll... Click, Control T. That way nobody's freaking out that he's kind of leaning over. So this is my character, right? So now I could normally what would happen is I would actually draw. I would do a lot less. Excuse me. I would do a lot of drawings, right? And just here's a pencil drawing. Here's a pencil drawing. Here's a pencil drawing. Trying to figure out what exactly a character would look like or something like that. But I think that this character came together pretty cool, and now looking at it, I'm going, all right, what story do we have, right? And so now let's go to here. Change that color so we can see it, or just make it black, that way we can always see it, right? So we were saying we wanted a clan of ninja clan, cold climate, ice ninjas, ice power, weapon, and he's gonna have some type of fur, right? We didn't do the fur yet because that's gonna tuck in, I guess. We'll figure that out when we do the designs on next Thursday. But with this, I'm ready to go and see what kind of story can be developed, right? Because besides the fact that I've colored outside the lines, all right. So now I want to. It's like, all right, let's write in the margins again and see what happens. When you are in the initial idea design phase of things, do you always work digitally, or do you ever break? Oh, I am a huge paper and pencil person, like gigantic pencil and paper. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Oh, okay, here's one. So I generally have this kind of sketchbook, right? And then, sorry, I might be able to go. Okay, hold on, we're gonna try something. All right. So, it all starts like this. This is generally what I do, right? So most of the time I actually always start here. All my drawings will, see? That's a good one too. Right? And this is what I was talking about when I was like, oh, I'll do a bunch of profile shots and try and figure out what I'm trying to do. Right? Generally with pen, because it's just about scribbling out the ideas and going from there. I do some of these, right? So that it's digital and we got this nice little thing going on, but normally it'll start off with just it'll start off with pencil and paper, and then I'll either draw it straight out, right? Like I'll come back in and be like, let me redraw it, or if it's something that I'm good with, I'll come in and go, all right, this is where I'm at for the pencils, and I'll ink over that, right? Even the sketches are clean. Thanks. I told you. Generally speaking, I ink pretty clean, or I mean, I draw very clean because it's just who I am. I have a real hard time actually doing sketchy stuff. I try. What? Ooh, excuse me. But it doesn't always happen. Is marker? Oh, do you want to see the marker collection? I mean, it's only some of it. It's really it's only some of it. Here, let me show you. No, we gotta go this way. That's some of it. Right. These are nice, but I got markers over there. I got markers over there. I got markers on the floor. I got markers everywhere. I do like markers. I do indeed like markers. And sorry, I don't. Oh, let's see if I. Trying to see if I had anything markered here for you guys to look at. But it doesn't look like it. Nope. I just had a convention, so all that stuff's kind of put away. So yeah, okay. Back to story. Because if you can work out the story, right, as you develop, and you can go, okay, well, what kind of thing is this character? So we can actually come in and try and figure out what kind of character this is, and that's going to be important. So for this character, I'm really thinking that he's, I don't know, so he's probably out on the icy continent, tundra, whatever, and maybe he's by himself. Alright, so he's isolated. Alright, so he's isolated in the icy wasteland. And because he's out there by himself, and oh, we're gonna say that he's the protector. He's a protector of some shrine, right? So he's out there protecting something that is, you know, holy or sacred or something like that. And we'll say that his clan, so he's a sole survivor. So he's, you know, by himself, killing like super polar bears and stuff like that. So he's probably, we're gonna say, he's a little evil. Not necessarily that he's a bad guy, but he is not that quick to be like, sure, come on to my house, you can have tea. He does, let's say he can control. No, he can manipulate. He can create and manipulate, or just create, or just manipulate ice. think you should be able to create slash manipulate ice. So can you see, can you see some of these? Like, if I tell you he's the sole survivor, would you be like, yeah, manipulate? So when you say manipulate, do you mean that he has to be in the icy, if he's in the icy wasteland, he can make stuff happen. But if he's in like the jungle, he wouldn't be able to make ice. Right, I would probably even say that he's fierce, right? Like a fierce fighter. Right? So he can summon ice. Yeah, see, I was just gonna say create and manipulate it, right? So it's kind of like a Sub-Zero type character, but he doesn't always use it. Right? I think that he's more of a, we're gonna give him a weapon and he'll fight with that, right? Like he'll go about and be like, I'm gonna fight, blah 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 blah. And so that way the ice powers are something that are like, ooh, this is special, right? Like, or not necessarily special, but it's like we're fighting, and then if you get the better of him, that's when he's like, all right, well, look, I can create these ice. Maybe he has a Magic's powers, manipulating ice. Have to use it. Maybe. I mean, that seems good. Oh, you know what? Maybe he's the reason he's a sole survivor. So they were fighting off something, and he was kind of willy-nilly with his powers, right? And he then like froze his entire clan. Hence why he would also be evil and, kind of withdrawn. So that way, I think that would be nice. I think that would be a good one. So we'll say that he's the reason. He's the reason is the soul certified. That does not look like how. That does not look like that's the way you spell that. I became an artist, not a speller. No, I spelled it right. Maybe it's something he overcomes down the line. Maybe. So we'll be like he killed his clan with ice. Okay. Okay, and then like I can see this story being with this character, right? Like I see how this all resonates with this one character, so I'm enjoying that one a lot. Let's see, is there anything else? Thanks Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. Okay. I think we'll stick with that. There we go. Alright. I like that. I like that. I like that one. So we're going to save it. Now we've got all our notes saved. You know what I missed? You missed everything. You missed the story. You missed the creation. All right, so we have a short amount of time. We can see if there's anything else we can create. So we're gonna do another one. Guess we can get rid of that. That one, that one, that one. Okay. There we go. Alright, maybe we'll just do something a little quicker, right? And see if anything sticks. You know what? And so we'll just, you know, like I said, we'll just scribble around, see if, whoops, if something might spark our interest, right? So we can draw a couple of those. So we still got a little, like I said, we still got some time. Whoa. So let's see. And so one thing that I've realized is really hard is constantly trying to make new masks, right? Because all my major ninjas have masks, so trying to keep those fresh and interesting is always interesting, because it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, though. And I do take a lot of inspiration from Mortal Kombat. So, you know, but because theirs are so detailed, right? Like they've got 5 million pieces that happen, or just like pieces of thing that happen on top of it. You're just like, oh my goodness, right? So I look at what they have and be like, oh, that's really cool, I like that, or this is really cool, I like that, and I'll take bits and pieces from it. But you can't, like I said, they've got a ton of detail on theirs, and sometimes it's just like that's just too much. Especially if you're, you know, trying to do things with a very simplistic line or something like that. So I think we need to pull this back. But this is a very strong process. Like this is what I do pretty much every time, especially if I'm like, oh, I'm going to create a new, like there's a new place in my world. Then I'll start with, okay, well, if there's a new place, who inhabits that place, right? Because that's going to be a very important question. It's like, well, who in the world is going to be living in this place to where it has to be created? And so the very first thing that I will try and do is create at least one of the inhabitants of said place. This is just not working. You know what? We're going to take that, lasso that, I'm going to shrink it, and we'll put it over there before we agonize over it too much. And we're going to draw another one. So this is, like, I know that we went and finished one beforehand, right? But this is generally my process. So I'll be like, all right, we're going to create this kind of, this ninja-ish person. We're going to see what it is we like about it. Or is there anything that we're going to like about it? And one of the things I'm really trying to avoid is the idea of like icicles coming out of their head. You know, it's not necessarily the kind of thing that I'm looking for, at least not with this character, right? especially since we've established that um, he doesn't want to. He's like, I don't want to use my ice powers because I'm doing penance for the fact that I just murdered my entire clan, mostly because he was being reckless. That's a case in his ear. Right, and so the idea when doing these is to just quickly get some information down that you might be able to use or that you might not be able to use. We'll probably put one right there. Tiered effect. And some of them might be good, some of them might be garbage. like that last one. T-minus 30 minutes. 30 minutes! 28 minutes now. Let's go. We can pump out a couple more. Or, what do you think? Should we make our soul protector a woman? Yeah, we should. Heck yeah, okay. I do still think that this, right, that can easily be changed into a woman. Right? We'll fix the eyeballs and then protruding like skull bone, but that could be a woman. Yeah. Wrong buttons all around. This is Michelle Yeoh. Okay. Okay. Now, are you okay as we are doing this together? Are you guys okay with this being the look? Because I really like how this ninja actually came out. So I'd be perfectly happy with putting it on a female or on a woman's body. That's not a problem. Yeah, good. Okay. Cool. We will make that happen. We will make that happen. You know what? Maybe we. Do 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 do. Definitely come down like so. That. Giving me some issues. Ah, I see why now. So the reason why I think that this particular process of just kind of drawing these profiles is so helpful is because you can, even though you might not use any of them, right? Like, you might not use any of them, there might be something that you're like, oh, this part right here, that's gonna work. oh, you know what, I like the way she came together. I'm like, oh, we're gonna do this, that, and the other thing. So doing these really quick is one of the most, I would say, beneficial ways to get a lot of ideas down really, really fast. Right? And then, you know, if you wanted to, you could spend the time to kind of touch one of them up, kind of like what we did at the very beginning. Right? And you're just like, oh, we're just going to touch this one up because I think this one was the most interesting. Here. I'm trying to go off of memory real quick. Not that I really would have to, but then there was here, there. Am I? Guess that those thick lines really only work down here. mean, this is kind of our other character, right? From the other one, right? So tighten that up a little bit. Would look just as, probably just as awesome as the other one. I don't know, at least in this one, she looks more like more pensive than he did. So, yeah. And these are all, like, none of this was pre-done, right? All of this is like, oh, we're gonna do this all right here, right now. So, you know, coming up with these kind of ideas is just, you just gotta, to be honest, you really just gotta let your mind go. Right? Because if you're going to dictate, if you're just like, oh man, it's got to be this, right? You're going to be stuck, and it's not going to come in the way that you might think it would, and so you might actually be doing something really, really awesome, but for some reason you're looking at it like, I don't know, it doesn't look right. It's probably because you're forcing it, right? That's why doing sketches in your sketchbook and stuff like that is so important, because if you don't, you'll miss some opportunities to come up with some really cool stuff. Yep. Absolutely. But a lot of people, a lot of young artists will want to try and skip that stage. Right? They just want finished work. That's all they see. It's like, oh, gotta be done, it's gotta be finished. It's like, but this is the first pass. Right? This is the first thing you did. Like, yeah, but it's great. It's like, well, I don't know if great's the right word. You know, it's like, I don't exactly know if great is the word you're looking for. Blast. Hope to catch you on the next stream. Oh, alright. Thanks, Yosemite, for hanging out. 5 minutes. Thanks for the warning. Think we can knock out one more? The 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's see. He's like, I don't think this one's gonna work. Winter's coming. See, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And you get something weird. Like, you get something weird, and you get something more like this, and you're just like, sure. We're gonna go ahead and place him over here too. Alright. So, like I said, we get to do, as we mentioned, exploration, and just being able to come in and go, you know, scribbles, 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 and seeing if something sticks, right? As we looked, and I really do like this character to be the pensive one, right? And so I'm looking forward to coming together and trying to make that character into the character that we were trying to create today, that looks like that, right? So we're gonna do that, and I think that's gonna be great, and I'm very excited to move forward. The next element is how to develop the character, and I'll be going through that process, and then off stream I'll actually draw the character so you get to see it, right? And then once we have the character done, and I'll bring that in, then we will work on the shrine, and because that's going to be the important part, is to show how that character is going to fit within the environment that is around. And then we'll have the shrine, we'll do a little bit of the environment sketches and stuff like that, and then for the fourth and final day we'll put everything together. Sound good? I think so. I think we did some good stuff today. Got some good character, got the story together. I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. Well, that is definitely it for me. We've made it to 11 o'clock. That is my time. I want to say thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me, and to Wacom, thank you very much for allowing me to take over the stream. It was pretty cool. I look forward to continuing and finishing up this process to get it all together. So thank you guys so very much. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, and I will see you guys next Thursday.